Hey guys, winter is coming, so you know what that means. All of these orchids that require a winter rest needs to have reduced watering or cut off watering entirely and be put in a different place where I will not be encouraged to water them. Right now they're hanging up there, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them to an area over here where the misters cannot touch them and I will not be encouraged to water them because they're so high up, and that way they won't get accidentally watered either. The nobelies like a lot of light, so this is a good option for them as well because they can still have the top shelf to get as much light as possible. So what I've done is I have these trays here that I'm going to be putting all of my nobelies into, and that way it's just easier to move them around. And also the other orchids will go into separate trays as well. I purchased 6 of these. Hopefully they are enough, but if not, I will have to go and get more. This is also a good time for me to clean up my orchids and inspect them. So these dead leaves have been here forever, and of course I can't get to them, but I'm gonna remove them if I can see them. Yeah. And what I would also do is to inspect it for any pests. Sometimes I don't have time to do this, and it gets really tiring to take care of so many orchids, so I don't inspect them. But if you have any sort of pests, what you can do is you can get some Dawn liquid soap and you can mix it with water and put it in a spray bottle and just spray everything. It will clean up your orchids as well. I'm just gonna spray in all the nooks and crannies just in case. I don't see any, but you never know. So this is just like an organic way. Maybe not so organic. I mean, you're using soap, so it's pretty safe, but I don't know if the soap is organic, so I won't say organic. But yeah, just clean it up and inspect everything and see if you have any pests. It's done. It took quite a while, and I did not have time to film it yesterday because it was getting really dark, so today is actually the next day when I'm filming this. All of my dendrobiums that require a winter rest are up there, the nobelies, the kingianum hybrids. These are the hybrids here. My corpse plant that does not require a lot of water is going to be up there as well. My Parishii, and my, I can't remember what that one is called, my something dendrobium something, I can't remember. But more nobelies over here. I have quite a few nobelies, and then I have some small dendrobiums right there. I put them in the middle because this shelf doesn't have anything to hold it right in the middle. The heavy plants are over here on the edges where there's a bracket and a bracket right there. I think those are all of my plants that require a winter rest that I can see. My oncidiums, my bulbophyllums, and my oncidiums are down here for now. I'm still needing to organize some stuff because you can see that there's a tray there that's just sitting around not doing anything. It should be on a shelf. I try to be pretty organized with my plants, and right now it's bothering me that those plants are just sitting right there. I had to move some of my other oncidiums up there on the shelf because I'm also moving my Dendrobium phalaenopsis up there. They do like a lot of sun and they can get watered year round, so I move them up there all together on the shelf with each other. You guys can see that my shade cloth is still up. I need to take that down because the weather now is starting to get darker. There's not a lot of light, and I think the warmest days is going to be 80 degrees, which isn't too warm anyway. It is warm, but it's not to the point where I'm going to need a shade cloth. I can still turn on the fan. So I'm definitely going to take off both of my shade cloth from, this is the west facing shade cloth, and up top as well. Once I took off the shade cloth, the greenhouse is so much brighter. Right now it's about 6 p.m. and the sun is already starting versus the sun is already setting, I'm sorry. The sun is already setting versus the 9 o'clock in the summer. So light is really important, especially in the winter when the days are a lot shorter. I don't use any artificial light in my greenhouse. The only lights that I use are these, which are mostly for when I work at night. But I don't have artificial lighting inside my greenhouse because I don't need it. I live in a place where I have sufficient light, and the darker days are not as much as if I was living in a climate where there are mostly dark days, such as days when it's really snowy outside and it's blocking a lot of the light and so forth. I don't live in a place like that. I rarely get snow, maybe like one snowflake every few years or so, but it's just not that important for me to have artificial lighting. And it costs a lot of money to run my heaters as well, so having natural light, or having sufficient natural light, is actually really good for me because it saves me so much money on lighting. In terms of watering my orchids in the winter, I only water my orchids once a week. And for these that are mounted, I would mist them only once every other day. And because I work pretty late, so by the time that I get home, it's already getting dark or pretty dark, what I have to do is either wake up really early in the morning and mist them, and the water is still pretty cold. I don't have access to warm water or hot water the way that other people have. They would set up a hot water hose that would run to their greenhouse. I don't have that option, so what I have to do is either mist them really early in the morning, and what I will do is also turn on the fan here. This is really important in the winter. If you guys don't have a fan and you're growing outdoors, this is really, really important to get. So I have a commercial fan here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on for you, and I actually have it directed toward my phals. I did not water my phals. This is really bad to water them, especially during this hour, but I was misting these plants up top, and it just so happened that some of the mist got to the leaves right there. So I'm gonna have to blast the fan, and it's going to have to dry these phals by the time the sun sets. So hopefully it will, because phals are notorious for not surviving little things like this. They do not like water on their leaves, especially when it's cold and it's dark outside. So this is really important to know. I've killed so many phals this way, and usually I just don't care anymore. But for some reason today I do care. So I'm gonna do this, but usually I just let them die because I don't know. I just have so many. So here goes. I turn it on low, and you can see it's blasting the air at the phals. Hopefully this is a great way to dry the plant. It's directed at the orchids, but it's far enough that they're not being knocked over. But this is a really good way to dry them, especially when it's getting darker at night. and you don't want your plants to get bacterial infection or a fungus infection, any sort of infection that is caused by the water staying on the leaves overnight or for a long time. Another set of plants that you have to keep in mind as well would be the catasetany orchids. So I have all mine over here, and then there are some that I don't even remember where I put them. But what I have to do is I have to pull them all in and put them in a place where I can have them all together. Right now, none of them are starting their winter rest or their dormancy yet, but for me, what I want to do is I'm going to watch them to see which ones are going to drop their leaves. The babies over there have already dropped some of their leaves, but these guys are still hanging on. I still have a spike on that one and a spike on another one as well. So these guys, I want them in the same place, and I actually have a lot, so I might have to get rid of some, but I have them in one place so I can see them better. And usually it's best to have orchids that require similar care be in the same place so you don't forget, especially if you have a lot of orchids like me. This is just a great way to do it because then I don't forget anything. If you have other plants that require a warmer climate like these are water lotus, and usually they can stay outdoors, but because my dad actually grew these from seed and they are smaller and I do have a place for them, I just wanted to bring them in. They were infested with aphids at some point, so I've been trying to get rid of them organically because it is very difficult to use pesticides, especially with water plants like these. So what I just did is I took a hose and I sprayed them, the aphids, with the hose at super jet high settings, so the aphids just kind of fall off. And it's doing a really good job because I don't see any aphids anymore. The leaves are not doing so well because of all the aphids. Right now I don't have twin wall polycarbonate on the walls of my greenhouse. So what I did last year, and I haven't taken it off, but what I did last year was just put big bubble wrap, and I think these are the 1-inch bubble wrap that I have here. I can't remember, but usually get the biggest type that you can get. Don't get the really small type like the 3/8 of an inch because they don't work so well, but get these ones that are bigger and you can wrap them around the greenhouse. Usually I would just tape them off, and it's lasted, most of the tape has lasted for a whole year now, so I think it's doing pretty well. It lasted through some storms. The greenhouse also lasted through some storms as well. This is a good way to kind of increase the insulation a little bit. You can also get spray foam. You can buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot or any home improvement stores that you have, and you can seal some of the edges so you can see the crappy foam that's up there, those yellow nasty foam that I really hate. The white foam actually looks better, but it's more expensive, so it really depends on if you want it to look better or not. There goes Mr. Hobbs in there. He's checking all the plants and drinking, Hopster, and drinking from that. So definitely try to make sure your animals don't drink any of this because this is really bad. But yeah, I think that is what I have in terms of preparing for the winter. I did a lot last year already, so it's all great for me. This is my second winter, so I know a little bit more, and I have gotten rid of a lot of my fowls, so that way I don't have to deal with their deaths. But I do anticipate that some of them will not make it because I'm going to keep my greenhouse at about 60 degrees, and they tend not to like it at 60. But too bad for them, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.